Hello, friends and neighbours. I have no idea why I decided to come in at you from this side, just because I thought it would be fun. Was it fun for you? It was fun for me. Have some wine. Why not? My name is Strange Fish, but if you're feeling slightly hyperactive like I am today, you can call me Fishy T. Or not. You know, you could just say PT if you like. It is time again for me to talk about the films coming up in the next couple of months. March and April. I squished them both together because March is being very stingy with its films, having only one little one. Boop boop. I do, however, want to talk about Final Destination's Bloodlines, which isn't due out yet. But I just saw the trailer and I liked the way they did it. Yeah, you heard me right. Final Destinations is rising from the grave yet again for another sequel. But I, for one, am not all that mad about it. They're fun, silly little movies. And the trailer shows promise. We all know the only reason we watch these films is for the Rube Goldberg death machinations, the absurd and the ridiculous ways people can die, the guessing what noxious or innoxious item is going to cause their demise. Well, the people who made this trailer clearly know the way to our morbid little hearts, because it is one long death scene. And what more do we need? It's silly, it's goofy, might even be a little bit cringe-inducing when you see the chain attached to his nose. Here in Feety's Little Pond we do like a horror movie that doesn't take itself too serious. Although I said I wasn't going to talk about Final Destination and then I did, so let's just ignore everything I just said. Okay? Cool. Coming up on the 28th of March is Women in the Yard, which sounds like a title from the 1950s, but it's 2025. Promise, I looked it up. It is directed by and written by and stars these people, and I'm not saying their names because I have trouble with pronouncing at least 3 of them. I found it a bit difficult to get a sense for the film from the trailer, but it does intrigue me. Begins with a child's voice reciting a poem about the woman in the yard, coupled with shots of frightened faces and the titular woman just sitting there. Oddly one of the eeriest things a movie monster can do. They don't even have to be supernatural for that to put the wind up you. In fact, it's probably worse if they're not. There she is, sitting in the brightest sunlight, like a grieving garden gnome. Definitely as a child I always remember, nighttime scary, daytime safe. Now whether or not she waits for the night time before going for them, I'll have to watch to find out. But having her there all day, quietly and patiently waiting while there's nothing you can do about it, it's arguably worse than a sudden attack out of nowhere. The trailer also does one of my favourite things, in that it removes all sound for about 10 seconds, making it feel like the whole world is holding its breath. Then it launches into a montage of what I would call fairly standard spectral shenanigans. Falling objects, dragging across floors, screaming faces, long-limbed shadow creatures, and fast cuts between them to build up the spooky. But I'll never fault a film for being just another haunted house or just another ghostly vengeance, because for me it's not always what is told, but how it is told. And the mystery of who and what the lady is and what she wants is enough to draw me in for now. Now, I'm not great at trailer analysis or figuring out twists and turns. I mean, I didn't even know who Kaiser Soze was until the movie was literally throwing coffee mugs at my face. Kobayashi. But there are a couple of things we can get from the trailer. There is a house, conveniently out in the void where it's impossible to run for help. There are 2 children staring anxiously out of the window. The mum, meanwhile, is outside and her face tells a different story. Abject fear, shock, but not necessarily surprise, and knowledge. So she knows who the woman is, and why she's there. Also, you'll notice a wee aside, Mum has a crutch, which is a kinda scary thing in itself, because if you're far away from your kids and there's a big bad coming for them, and you have to race to get to your babies first, that fills you with something I like to call the pee fear, which does not help you run faster. After the butt-clenchingly long silence, the woman softly says, "Today's the day," and shows a pair of bloody palms, after which her main target does seem to be the children, or at least the wee girl. So, and this is not genius level of interpretation, the poem tells us this is a pre-existing mythical maid, and not a vengeful spirit. Her ominous 3 words tell of a deal and the hour at hand, and the bloody palms suggest some nasty deed done on the behest of, presumably, the mum. Better brains than me might have deduced more from this, but I am a shallow and simple creature, so I just skimmed the surface, and that's what I got. Now, while my small bare brain did think of the Babadook when I saw this trailer, supernatural stalker who has their own theme song in the form of an ominous poem, and the costume is slightly goth La Llorona, I don't want to unfairly compare it to things. It looks interesting enough in its own right, at least in its concept, to be worth the trip to the cinema. Blap, blap, blap. Next one. Bada boom, bada bing, done. Learn from a professional, kid. You only have to wait till the 25th of April for the Until Dawn movie. Have you been waiting with bated breath for it? I know I sure haven't. Well, to be honest, I am kind of curious. With director Bing and writer Bong and this cast of actors. I was curious how they were going to make a film based off of a game that we already know the plot and all its twists for. And now I know. They're not recreating the story or characters. They're recreating the gameplay element, where if you make the wrong decision, you die and then respawn. It doesn't excite me. We've seen this sort of Groundhog Day gimmick used before in horror movies. The one that springs most readily to mind is Happy Death Day, so that alone isn't enough to make me want to go and see it. And even the element of finding clues and piecing together what happened is as unoriginal as it is uninteresting. We follow a group of shrieky, screamy teenagers. I say that like I wouldn't be shrieky and screamy in a real-life horror situation. Because I wouldn't, because I don't know how to emote. And all my screams go inwards, and then I explode. We follow this group who head up to the cabin on the anniversary of a friend/sister's mysterious disappearance. Along the way they meet Peter Stromer, who gives them the doom speech.
You're doomed, 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 you're doomed.
I'm not sure if he has any more to do with the movie, or if that was it, just a cameo and a little nod to fans of the game. So off they go to the cabin, discovering invisible walls that keep the rain out and the players in, a weird egg timer that Prince of Persia's them back to the start of the day, and then proceed to die in numerous, hopefully creative ways. Oh, and there's a Wendigo, I think. If that sounded like an unenthusiastic description, it's because it was. I am curious, but I don't think I'm cinema ticket price curious. I would have gone if it was 15 because I would have taken my horror-loving niece and future horror buddy, but sadly it's an 18, or R-rated if you don't live near me. So for me, that relegates it to the when it streams list. I don't know why I'm doing these out of order, we seem to be going backwards in time, but this is just the order I wrote them in. On the 18th of April we have Sinners, director, writer, actors. I saw the trailer for Sinners by accident. I was just watching YouTube and it came up in an ad break. But it made me stop what I was doing and pay attention. It caught my interest. And when your cursor doesn't instantly go for the skip button, I think they've got themselves a winner of a trailer there. But then it continued. It does fall foul of the same problem all recent trailers have, in that it showed too much. I know we have trailers and we have teasers if you only want to see a teasy little bit, and maybe I should just stick to watching teasers and stop complaining, but it's still a shame. So the film is about twin brothers coming back to their hometown, hoping to start over after some troubled past. But they find even bigger trouble at the old homestead. The film is set in 1930s southern USA, following African-American brothers, and starts with a voiceover about people with the gift of making music, and a lot of emphasis on a guitar. So I instantly thought of Robert Johnson, the blues musician who was alleged to have sold his soul to the devil in exchange for his musical talent, which I thought would make a fascinating premise. Maybe it wouldn't focus on musicians, but there seemed to be some deal with the devil elements, especially with phrases like,
You keep dancing with the devil. One day he's gonna follow you home.
And the appearance of this creepy-looking devil dude. And then they went all vampire on us. I mean, that's fine. I'm not opposed to a good vampire movie. I just wish they hadn't told us. Let me go to the cinema with no real expectations other than, this looks interesting, and let me be surprised. Let me guess at what's going to happen and what the twists and turns will be. I won't guess them, because I'm a bear of very little brain, but I'll have fun trying, and it will stop my squirrel brain from wandering off in search of lost thoughts. But having said that, I still do want to see this. It looks like a lot of fun, exciting and emotive, and maybe I've jumped the gun by saying they've told us too much. Maybe they've told us just enough to lead us in the wrong direction, and there is more to be learned. We can but hope. Either way, it looks like it's going to be a good movie, and a definite hell yeah. The Ritual is expected out on the 17th of April, earlier than all these other films, and yet it does not seem to have a trailer, at least not one that I can find. If you type the Ritual 2025 trailer into Google, you get nothing but fan-made trailers. But one thing is clear, we need an old priest and a young priest, 'cause once again there is a young girl in need of exorcism. Now, I have said it's not always what story is being told, but how it is told, and there are a lot of really good exorcism-possessed films out there. But I also feel like this plotline has been beaten to death with a bloody crucifix, and maybe needs to stay in the Dybbuk box and never rise again. Without a trailer, I can't come to much of a conclusion other than it's another exorcism film. So, not one I'll be rushing to see, but I don't mind being proved wrong. And if that is all I have said about the ritual so far, then that's because I've posted this before the trailer has actually dropped. Either that or it was really, really boring. And that's it for March and April. There was a film called The Raja Sab that was due to be released on the 10th, but it has been delayed. If you made it to this part of the video, which most people don't, I would love it if you left a little like and a comment. It does my attention-seeking little heart loads of good. Bye-bye for now.
Strange fish.
None of this is what I wrote. Why are you saying it then? Well, because it's just what's coming into my mind right now. Do you realise you're doing puppets with your fingers? I do. Do you think we should stop? Probably. Let's edit this bit out, okay? Definitely.